A voting majority of the board is up for election, and there are 9 candidates. So basically what we wanted to do was help the community get up to speed, answer questions, and we tried to do this in a few ways. Number one, we're here at the Cary pub. People have asked why a bar, why a pub, why not at Algonquin Township, where we've had other meetings or things like that. The first thing I wanted to tell everybody is this is a community. We're a school district, we're a town, and it's very important for us to act like a community. We may not all agree, we can disagree, and but most importantly, let's have it in a place where people who aren't used to going to meetings may feel more comfortable. So I've had more people tell me that they might show up here than they would somewhere else. So we'll see what happens. What we're also doing tonight is we are videotaping the entire meeting, and I think it's important so that number one, people who can't make it, it's a Tuesday night, there are conferences, there are other meetings, there are things going on. We want people to be to understand that if they don't show up, that there's a way for them to access this. So the entire meeting will be posted on District 26. www.D26 Parents, D26PWAV.com, www.D26PWAV.com. So it will all be posted there, and everybody will have access to it and be able to watch it at their leisure. It's one of the things that we've spoken about in the past as one of our areas of concern, which is if you can't make it to a school board meeting, how is there a way for you to get access to that information? So we decided we were going to do this. We were going to do it at no additional cost. So here we are. Joe Bustos, when he talked to me about this meeting, said, what's going to be your style of moderation? I said, barely restrained mayhem. And the reason that I said that was, number one, I want someone to be able to raise their hand and ask a question, or say, hey, I don't agree, or could you say that again, that doesn't make sense, or can you explain that? We're not bound by Robert's Rules of Order. We're not bound, let me see, Chris Jenner here, who's a board member, no other active board members.
Yeah, Scott Coffey.
Oh, Scott Coffey's in the back. Okay, hey Scott. So we are not bound by, well, Scott's actually just a visitor, not a participant, so we're not bound, even, he wouldn't count towards OMA, so, but we only have 2 active board members. If someone comes back and says, we have to be bound by it, we will, but I want this to be very informal, so if you have questions, please ask them. If you want to jump in, please go ahead. If you disagree, please, jump in. We wanted to leave enough time to do that and have the proper discussion and introduce all of the candidates. As I had mentioned, the candidates are here. We have 4 candidates. Is Bradley Slavic here? He had RSVP'd that he would be here, but I have not seen him. He would be the 5th. We have of 3 people who said that they could not make it, statements from Josh Howell, Chris Christensen, and Floyd Myers, which I will read. And again, anybody can then make their own decisions afterwards, not only for being here, but watching it to say, is this giving everybody a fair shake? So that's sort of the beginning. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts, want to jump in? I don't want anybody getting antsy sitting on a question or a comment. Okay. The way the format's going to work tonight is there's going to be basically 3 stages of this meeting. The first one, which we're in the middle of right now, is basically the introduction. And the last part of the introduction is basically going to give a formal introduction to District 26 Parents with a Voice. When I read about what some people think we are, I say, I can't believe I'm part of that. And I hope that we get the opportunity here to talk about why we're here and what we're trying to accomplish, and maybe answer some questions about that. Secondly, we're going to talk a little bit about the issues. There have basically been 3 or 4 issues, 3 of them that I posted recently, that we in the group believe are important. We want to raise them, since it's our group, and then we want to introduce the candidates, and they will be able to introduce themselves. The format we've decided on is each one can get up, do his own introduction, or I will read the prepared statement. At that point, it will be open for questions. I have a few questions that were given to me by people ahead of time. I did not write my own questions or follow-up questions. Those will generally be in relation to what somebody may have said. For people who are not here, the questions will then be part of the follow-up process. For all 3 of the members who are not here, 2 of them have asked if I could meet with them and talk to them as well, and I said, we'll absolutely do that and share time and thoughts with you informally, and if anybody's interested in having a more formal discussion that we could post on the site, I'd be happy to do that as well. That's open to everybody. So that's what the format's going to be. District 26 Parents with a Voice has been around probably about 3 or 4 years. It was not started by me. It was started by Cary, who may or may not be here tonight. I met Cary when she and I were both members of the first Community Engagement Council. We talked about it. We actually offered up to the school district that it could become an official social media network for the district. The district said, at the time, we don't believe in social media, but thank you. We said, okay. And then as some of us started to develop concerns over issues and address those concerns, it took on the format that it kind of did today, which is to provide a voice for members of the community. Those members of the community who gravitate towards the site don't necessarily agree with a lot of things that are either going on with the administration, the board, the district, the educational process, anything. And one of the things in a small town, and I grew up in the opposite of a small town, so this is relatively new for me, is sometimes it's hard when you don't feel like your voice is being heard. Sometimes it's hard if you feel like, and I'm not saying this, but if you feel like you're not being heard, if you feel like your concerns are not being met, and our site is a relatively new vehicle for people to have their voice heard. One of the drawbacks of that is that sometimes the voices get loud, sometimes the voices get a little ornery, and sometimes the voices may get, in fact, angry. But one of the things that we have tried to do all along is to draw the distinction between being angry with issues and addressing issues and being angry with people and venting personally against people. If we have been unsuccessful at that, I've always said to someone, if you found an issue where we have been personally attacking somebody, let me know. If I've done it, I will be the first to apologize. However, if someone takes an issue that's been raised and saying, you're being mean, I said, let's talk about the issue. And that's really what we're all about, is more often than not, if there are issues being raised, I will, or other people will say, let's talk about them, let's raise them, okay, let's discuss them, not, I'm okay with this, you shouldn't be raising this issue. Sorry, that's not, this group is about raising the issues and addressing them. To that end, I have, for anyone who's interested and doesn't read the site, a selection of posts about issues from our group over the last few months. They're ones that I've written, so I'm very comfortable publishing them and letting anybody know who wants to read them. So what are those issues? There are basically 3 issues that we've raised as being of concern to us. Number 1 is accountability. Number 2 is planning and prioritization. And number 3 is financial transparency in the district.
You repeat those?
Yes, I can. The 3 issues are, number 1, accountability, specifically the board holding the administration accountable for different issues. Number 2, planning and prioritization. That means, can we I'm sorry. Check. Sorry, I've been doing my Tom Hanks on Wayne's World impression all night. That means if there is something, there we go, okay. That means if there's a plan, let's treat it like it's an encompassing plan. Let's treat it like we've looked at all of the angles and not just we want to do something, here's our plan to do this thing. But what are the ramifications even if they move into other areas? One of the issues that people have talked about in this community is we need to run this like a business. We need to run this like it's a private enterprise. Heard that a lot when the issue came up regarding teacher salaries and negotiations in the last contract. We need to run this like a private business. Okay, we can do that. We can talk about it in that context, but that means everything. Okay, not just certain things. And there are ways to address the planning and prioritization that can do that. And we believe that that has not been done very well. The third area, again, is financial transparency. We're a district that has closed 3 schools in the last 7 years, down from 7 to 4. We're losing kids left and right. Our home values are, and Scott, you're the real estate expert on this, but our real estate values are dropping faster than like communities. I think at one point we were sort of a red line with Elgin as being some of the fastest dropping communities in the area, in the entire Fox River. We believe that that has a lot to do with the schools and how we can, and speaks to what we can do, and as such, transparency is important. So those are the 3 issues. I have, again, posts on that. I don't want to read any of them, but the last piece on that is there's something that I've tried to post over and over again, and I want the community to understand this, and that is, how does a school district work? Not our school district. How does a school district work? And I have one of the pieces that I've written, one of the posts that I've written on that, and basically to give everybody an overview, okay, if you were to look at it like it's a private enterprise, a school district is run by the superintendent. Superintendent runs the school district. Every employee in the school district reports to the superintendent. The superintendent reports to the school board. Nobody else reports to the school board except the superintendent. And then the school board is elected by and is accountable to the community. It's really simple. And it's important because as people get upset and angry, they need to understand how things work. There's no sense in getting upset about things if it's not the way it's supposed to be. Okay? If you're getting mad about something that's not part of what the process is or how it should work. So within that context, if we understand that, then you can start to make decisions and do things about how we as a community, as a school board, and as a school district can and should operate moving forward. So Bradley, is great. Welcome. I wanted to make sure you were here. So that's basically the introduction and really the 3 areas of concern that we've had. What I then want to do is one by one let each of the candidates come up. I'm going to move off to the side. Everybody will get an opportunity to have an opening discussion or have an opening statement or introductory remarks to the group and to the camera. And then when everyone is done, depending upon the time, I have collected some questions. We'll ask those questions. Would like questions from other people. And I will have also some questions that I may want to ask as a follow-up to people.